Hi everyone, welcome to this special session on our onlinefurytrainings.com SAP server. So we are offering this SAP S4 HANA on-premise server on demand basis. Most of you have asked me a question about Anubhav, where can I practice your courses? Courses like SAP UI5, Fiori, Fiori Security, Fiori Launchpad, Gateway, OData Services, CDS Views, ABAP on HANA, S4 HANA, Fiori advanced training, as well as lot of these content. Where can we practice Anubhav all this stuff? The one single stop solution for all of that is our S4 HANA server, where you can practice all my courses which we offer on our onlinefurytrainings.coms. This server access, if you need, you have to contact me Nakshi on install.abap@gmail.com. You can send an email requesting for the server access to Meenakshi, and she will provide you all the necessary payment details. Of course, it's a paid server because we are paying also a licensing fee to SAP for every user which we create. Please note that every user which we create also gets a developer license key applied to the user. With the help of that, you will be able to access the system with the developer key already applied for your user, and then you can of course have development authorization in the server to practice everything in the system. That is the biggest benefit you get along with this server. So since we now discussed about the benefits of this server, let us move on and see, once you make the payment required for the server access, what exactly happens. So I will show you the whole process of how to connect to the server and what are all the things which you should keep it in mind while working with this server. So once you decide and go ahead with the server option, what you get is an email, something of this sort. You can see a sample email which I'm showing you here. You will receive an email from Meenakshi like this, and your name and all the details. And now you get here a detail about RDP. RDP stands for Remote Desktop Connection. This RDP is so important because SAP HANA access which you want to have is always available only with RDP. Now you get an RDP ID, the IP address, a username, in this case mob2, and then the password of the user. So let's try to first connect with this RDP system. Now below this you get your end date of subscription accordingly based on the number of months you have taken the server access, and also these instructions which are very important for you to go through. Okay, now one very important thing which you need to notice in this email, you get a link here to this document. Now this document is the heart of the entire server. If you not follow this document, you will face a lot of issues. Okay, so let's open this document, and this document now has all the details about how to connect to the server, what are the steps, everything screen with the screenshots is step by step, and some of the very common problems which you face while connecting to this server in your company environment, or whenever you are working with, let's say, your personal laptop. At times you may face issues. So these are all described in this server document very much in detail. So you can see here the RDP address and step by step screenshot guide is given. I would strongly recommend you to please go through this document before you start using the server. So please go through this complete document which you actually start using it. So now I will just show you the steps what is written actually in the document is also, I'm going to quickly show you that up over here. So our user is mob2 and the password is this. So I will just quickly do Windows, and I can search for run option. You can search for run option, or you can also use shortcut key window R. Yeah, anything is fine, and this opens the run option, and here you have to type mstsc. Now please, those who are using Mac operating system, don't come to us. We don't have any support for Mac at this point of time. You need to find out avenue to connect to remote desktop for Mac. That is something your own responsibility. We don't support Mac over here. So now coming to mstsc, click on OK. and this will launch a remote desktop connection, and now you have to enter this IP address which is given. So let's go ahead and copy this IP address. Just copy this, control C. Be careful, don't copy any spaces or something, it will create problem. And just paste that over here, say connect. And since I've got my user ID and password, I will just have to choose more choices and say use different account always. Yeah, always choose this option, use a different account, and get your user ID and password entered. So I just enter my user and of course my password, which is given over there. And if the password, as you all know, is case sensitive, if you do any mistake then it's going to be a problem. So be careful with that password. I would recommend you to write the password, then copy pasting the password. Okay, say okay, yes. And now you would see it launch my remote desktop connection. So it is going to log into a Windows machine as a remote desktop connection, and the server opens like this. There you go, beautiful. You can maximize and minimize over here from the top. Yeah, that's a nice option, and it's like another remote machine which has opened. Now why do you need an RDP? RDP is required to connect to your HANA database. So those who have taken my ABAP on HANA or S4 HANA training, you know that we build a lot of stuff in HANA. So that's where we have already HANA Studio pre-installed in this RDP, which you can use. So you can see HANA Studio here. If you don't find HANA Studio, don't panic. Just simply go to Windows and search for HANA Studio, and you can also find that over here. Now before you start, make sure that at the bottom in the taskbar HANA Studio is not running already. If HANA Studio is already running, you will have problem. This is all written in the document, you can go through. Now also I want to optimize my taskbar experience, so I can right click at the bottom and I say settings for my taskbar, and I'll say I want to use small icons and do not combine my labels. So this gives me kind of a better experience while working, to see what windows are already open at the bottom in the taskbar. Now please note that the internet is disabled in this RDP box, so you can't download and install tools or things in your in your RDP. Actually that's not allowed, or that's not possible, because people do download a lot of stuff, and then they do a lot of things which kind of pollute this RDP, which we don't want. So internet is disabled in this RDP, you can't do that, and you can't install things of your own in this RDP machine. Okay, now mainly this should be used only for HANA Studio access, because we are giving it pre-installed. Also it can be used to access SAP logon, you can see it's also given. So let's first connect to HANA Studio. I'm double clicking now. So it is launching now HANA Studio. The speed is very good. So now you can see it is open up, and we encounter our first issue, which I also wanted to show. Some of you may face this issue. So it says secure stock storage logged in HANA Studio. So this can also be an issue which you may face. So in that case, what do you do? How do you solve this? This is given in the document, yet again I'm explaining it here. So you have to go to Windows Preferences and search for secure store and secure storage, and go to Contents tab, and you see this default secure store. Just click on this and choose delete. Yes, and yes, restart HANA Studio, and now it will restart my HANA Studio, so that error of secure store will go away. And this happens because some people uh, close HANA Studio without proper shutting down, or some people just shut down the system without closing properly HANA Studio, so it corrupts things. And now it just asks me a password here, I just say no, and now you see server is already added. I don't want to use this server. Let's say sometimes you may not even have this server added. So how do you connect to HANA system now, HANA Studio or HANA server? So you see there is a user detail file on the desktop. Please open that. And in this you will find two entries. One is for S4 HANA Fury system or above system. Another is for HANA DB details. So we now want to connect to HANA DB. So open HANA Studio, you see already running. If by any chance, HANA Studio is already running and you go back and try to again open HANA Studio, you're going to get an error. See this error. This is because HANA Studio is already running. At times our administrator login into your system with your user at times, because we want to do auditing. We want to make sure the system health is fine and nobody is doing malicious activity in server. So we do a lot of auditing. So at times you may get an error that already a user is logged on with your user ID, or Hana Studio was already running last time. So don't panic, it's just auditing happening. We do continuously a lot of auditing in the system to make sure the system is not disrupted by anybody. Okay, so that's what we do. Now I'm just close this. So Hana Studio is already running, guys, that's why it's not launching. So just close that. You can see at the bottom it's running. And now I want to add my Hana server, so just click on this button, add system. At times even you don't see these three tabs, what you need to do is go on the right in Hana Studio and click on this open perspective and choose option called Hana modeler perspective. Just come down and choose Hana modeler perspective. Yeah, say open. And now you would see Hana modeler perspective. Just minimize this and maximize this, these options. You see this is the Hana modeler perspective you have. Maybe you should better open the Hana developer perspective to see the system tab. So let's go and open Hana development perspective and say open. And now you see this systems tab with these three tabs. Okay, so click on this plus button, add system. And now you have to enter host name, which is given in the file. So host name is sts4c. I'm going to copy and paste it. And then comes is the port number, system number 00. And let's give the description as hdb hana db. And now you're going to enter your username password. So let's take mob2 and h capital hana 1234. I'm going to go back mob2 and I paste my password and say store this into secure storage. Say finish. And now it says invalid. Okay, there's something wrong. I don't remember. It's Hana 1234 H caps. Let's try. So at times if it doesn't work, you may have to then send an email to Meenakshi again to just check that your Hana password is not working. So let me just, I think that's incorrect. So let me just check what's the correct password. So that is incorrect currently. So there is a problem, I think, in Hana password. I'm just going to reset that. So Meenakshi will reset it, guys, don't worry. So you see it's currently currently not working. So what we do is, an administrator, we go and now reset. So let me just reset the password for mob2 and I will maintain that in a notepad file for you. Okay guys, so now I have reset the password by pausing my recording. So let's try once again. So now you see new password is available in the notepad file, where W is cap is welcome 123. So I'm going to go back and I will just maintain this, and then let's enter HDB and my user, of course, and now my new password, which Meenakshi has reset for me if it was not working. So I will say store this password also, so next time it doesn't ask me again and again. And wow, you see now Hana is connected, it's green, and you can see all the tabs and actions and options over here. So as you all know, for a ABAP on Hana course, there is a schema which should be available called SAP HANA DB schema, which is now currently not available over here. Why it is not available? Because if you go back and check the user security for your user mob2, you would find there is a special schema which needs to be also assigned to my user, which is currently not being done. So if I just quickly go back and show you here, there is a schema assignment which is expected, which is an ABAP schema, which is currently not available here. So maybe I just show you that it should ideally have ABAP read and ABAP sys report read authorization for this mob2 user, which is currently missing, and that is the reason I am not able to see the ABAP schema over here in the mob2 user. But anyway, for this also then I have to drop an email to Meenakshi saying that, hey Meenakshi, I am not able to see the schema in Hana system. You have to precisely write the same thing, and then she will take care of it. So let me just go ahead and pause the recording again and give the right authorization. Okay, so now I have gone ahead as a Meenakshi's user and changed the user security. So if I can just reopen my own user mob2 here in the security tab to show you what authorization was given to your user. This is what exactly Meenakshi will give you. She is the administrator and she will give you the authorization. So you see, I have added repo read and sys repo, these two things. plus also the modeling and public authorization, which is mandatory for you to develop the HANA models like we use. Okay, and together with that, make sure also you have the package privilege for root package. So typically you have root package authorization, that Meenakshi will also add that. So that is something which she will do it. So just cross check if we do have the root package authorization. And now if I come back and refresh catalog, you would find that I can now see SAP HANA DB schema, which is my ABAP schema available for query and building the views. So that is, these are some couple of troubleshooting things. You don't need to worry, just you need to just cross check if your user has this schema SAP HANA DB available. If yes, fine. If no, then contact Meenakshi. At times also you have to check if the client value is set to your user ID. This should be there. Then we saw the next one was these roles. Roles were ABAP read, ABAP sysrepo, and modeling and public. These four roles. And then in the packages, root package is assigned. So these are all the three things you can yourself check for your user. If not there, just tell Meenakshi that you don't have the required HANA related authorization in your user with your user ID and your user's RDP password you need to share with Meenakshi, so that she can assign these users authorizations to your user, and then you can work. So that's one part. We saw how we connect to HANA. Now the same RDP can be used, or HANA Studio can be used for ABAP development. So if you just go to RDP and you see there is this ABAP perspective. If not visible, then you click on add perspective and say ABAP and say open. And now it shows you ABAP system over here. You can right click and say add a new ABAP project, and it shows you a SAP GUI entry here for ABAP user. But now the problem is this IP address is incorrect. So if I double click and say next, and I just enter my ABAP password here. So what is my ABAP password? It's ABAP789 for mob2. Just enter and finish. It gives you an error because my ABAP IP address is incorrect. So maybe we have to first correct that. So let's go to new, and we have SAP GUI, SAP logon installed in this server, pre-installed for you. And let's enter the ABAP details. So this server is incorrect. So maybe I just delete this, or maybe I can change this. I can right click and delete also. Yeah, or I can create a new one. So maybe let's create new one. So this is all how you also add an entry in your local SAP GUI, your local computer SAP GUI. You can add an entry like this, the way I'm showing here. So I say new item, connection, and I say next. And now I'll enter description as S4C application server. What is it? So application server is the same IP address which you used for RDP. What was your RDP IP address? Let me just go back and go on the top and minimize, go back to my email. This was my address. So I just copy this address. Only up to 172 I copy. This is the IP address. Same you can use to configure in your local SAP GUI. You can use local SAP GUI to configure the same. You can connect over system, ABAP system, S4HANA system from local SAP GUI. We are also giving a SAP GUI installation. Check the document and search for SAP GUI. So you can download SAP GUI and install in your machine. You can see this drive link. You go there and you can download SAP GUI, install in your local machine, local computer, and from there you can access our ABAP server. That is the recommended way. I recommend everybody to use that. Okay, use RDP less, use local SAP GUI or local ADT for that communication. Anyway, let's add this address here. The instance number is 01 because 00 was for HANA, and ID of system is NS4, and say finish. And now you see this is added, and I double click, and now you see it open. So let's add my user mob2, and my ABAP password, it's there in the notepad file. So it's this one, ABAP789. A is small, it's case sensitive, of course. I paste it and enter, and you see it's incorrect. So I think this password also needs to be reset. So Meenakshi will reset your password if it is not working, and she will maintain then the right password in the document. Okay, that's another challenge. Okay, so now I have reset that also and maintained that in the notepad file. So that's what Meenakshi will help you Just for passwords and authorization, you can contact her. Rest all you have to do it yourself, as I'm explaining in the video. So mob2 welcome 12. Just going to go back to my ABAP system. And let's log in mob2 welcome 12, enter, and now you see I'm able to connect to my SAP system. So I can now access all the transaction. As I mentioned earlier, the developer key is already applied to your user. You don't have to do that, and you can just get started and develop things in the system. So you can do HANA development using HANA perspective in HANA Studio. Yeah, you can develop ABAP development in Eclipse using ABAP perspective. Yeah, so that's what you can do. Maybe it can show you now. Right click new ABAP project, select my server, next and next, and now give my client as 800 and my password, ABAP password here, welcome 12, and I finish, and now you see the server is added. So I can now do ABAP development tools in Eclipse in HANA Studio. So if you are confused between HANA Studio and ABAP development tool, please, I would request you to go to my YouTube channel and watch this, the difference between Eclipse and HANA Studio. That's a very recommended and favorable video. You would not find this kind of video anywhere else in the world. This is the very unique video designed by myself to make you understand in an easy way what is the difference between HANA Studio and Eclipse with ADT and webIDE, all three development tools which are used these days in companies for all the latest and greatest developments. You can always find that on my channel, Anubhav Oberoy. So let's go back and check. As for ABAP, HANA Studio, so we can check Studio and Eclipse, just search for that, and now you'll find that video on my channel. Between, yes, this Eclipse, you can see this Eclipse, solar eclipse, and now I can go inside lunar eclipse. Actually, that's the photo you can recognize it with. And now here you can find the difference between Eclipse, HANA Studio, and SAP webIDE. Please watch this video, very powerful video. 116 likes and 3,970 views, by far superb. So that is the video you can watch, guys. A very powerful video to make you understand the difference. However, let's come back. So that's about the RDP. So you can develop everything in RDP, within RDP, but not recommending you use for ABAP on HANA development and webIDE development, your Fury development, use local computer. So I'll just close this up now. RDP, I come out of RDP. Only for HANA use RDP. Rest all you use your local machine. So now I am back to my local computer. So just let me just close this guy. I just minimize and close. I'm bye to the RDP. So if you now go to your local machine, if you have SAP logo installed, same way I have added the SAP server. Guys, you can access this server just with an internet connection. Nothing is required. Just install SAP GUI, have an internet connection, and you can access the server. So I can come here and you see already added here, same IP address over here. You see I've added same IP address and it's been added over here, and I can now double click. It will also open from my local computer as if I am working in my own company. Yeah, so I double click now and this will open up the server for me. So you can connect to this server very easily from your local computer SAP GUI, and also the Eclipse development environment from local computer. That's the main advantage of using our server. So I can right click and log on, and it'll launch the system, and I can use same user ID password which I was using there in RDP for my mob2 user to connect to this system. Actually, that is a great advantage. Now guys, also remember the webIDE development, the launchpad development, everything is possible. You have to refer this this document here very well, and there are two very important files you need to download in your computer which are given in this document. One is a host file and another file is the destination file to connect to webIDE. Anyway, system is open now. I just show you logging with the same user ID password, mob2 welcome 12. So mob2, and I say wcaps welcome 12, and now you see it's just okay, one user permitted at a time. You can't log in multiple since we already logged in RDP was, and now you see system is open. Superb. I just close this and just also close this extra window, and I will now show you which two files you need to update basically in your local machine. Remember, these two files are very mandatory. You need to update them first. So you can see here, the first is the host file. You see this is the link to download. Second is this ns4 destination file for webIDE connectivity. So please download both these files in your local machine, and then you go to Windows R again and search for drivers, and this will take you to your C drive Windows System 32 drivers folder. Go to etc folder and just replace this hosts file which was there in your computer with the host file which I am giving. If you are also skeptical that this change may disrupt, so just rename your current host file as something called host. I have renamed it as host Ola what was there earlier, and then I put the host file which is there in the document as per the document. So you just open this file, you see it opens a Google Drive, and then you can download and copy paste this as it is. Just download on a desktop, and from desktop then you copy and paste to the drivers folder. So at times it downloads in downloads folder. From downloads folder you can't directly paste to etc. So first copy the downloads folder to desktop, and from desktop to etc folder it will work. And replace it or just put it by renaming the old one, existing one. That is first step. Second step is download this destination file and put it in your D drive or wherever your webIDE is. In my computer, webIDE is installed in D drive. Then I'll just show you the locations. I go to my computer and D drive, my webIDE. So that's where I have my webIDE installed, my webIDE personal edition. And I go inside and then config master destinations, and I had paste that file ns4 over here. That is the second step you must follow. So once this is done, both the files are placed. Now you are ready to test. So just take this URL and click, and it should now launch this result. Wow, superb. So now this result itself proves it is a testing of everything is properly set up in your computer. Yeah, so that is the result, and now you will be also able to execute or consume these services or data services from webIDE personal edition. You also have a URL for the launchpad and launchpad designer. Those who are taking my Fury security course, the launchpad also runs locally in your local browsers. You see everything is local. It's just like you're running your company machine. You see it open now, and the launchpad username password is same username password as your ABAP username password. Okay, same as ABAP username password. So always refer the document and everything will smoothly work for you. You can see, and then I'm showing just adding a project from template in webIDE, and it shows you the destination. We are also giving you a destination file for SAP webIDE full stack. You see here, those who are using webIDE full stack in SAP cloud platform, they can download this destination file from here, ns4 SAP cloud platform, and import it in your destination in SAP. All of this is taught in a lot of videos here. I am also publishing a lot of videos in this with video links. You can refer them. Everything is explained step by step, line by line, without any copy paste in those videos. So I hope you enjoyed this video and you got a brief technical detail about how to connect to server, how to connect to HANA, how to connect to ABAP system using ADT in RDP and ADT in local, and also connect to the system using SAP GUI, SAP GUI from local machine, and with that you will be able to do all the things with our server. So best of luck to all of you. Please, the whole purpose of this video is to minimize the number of issues which you guys report to us, the unnecessary emails which we receive. Please try to be little bit more technical. Try to find out solution by yourself, looking at this video and looking at the document. At times a lot of people do mistake. You can see this document we clearly mentioned fourth number document that sometime you see here there is some domain name is attached before the username, and then when you log in it will get you an error. Okay, so never go with this option. At times you see sometimes you may feel or you may get this extra domain name before the user ID. So this will prevent you to log on to RDP. So refer the document carefully, guys. It will create problems. So you have to go to show more options and then enter once again the username password. It will work. This, when you try, you will get these issues, or may not get these issues, but you may get these issues. So you've got to try all these things properly in your computer, and then accordingly refer that. Okay, so this document is the backbone of connecting and using the server. Anyway, in my courses, whichever courses you are taking, accordingly I'm explaining what is needed and all the details. So you see, all the details are mentioned here. Please go through these videos, these documents, and try to solve yourself, because that is the real sheer learning which you will get, and this learning will is going to help you. So don't overshoot email unnecessarily until you really have authorization issue or user lock issue or a password issue. Then you can mail us. Otherwise, you should try to solve things yourself. Be an engineer, look at the document. Everything is given, all the possible problems which you can face is given in that document, guys. So best of luck to all of you, and stay tuned on my YouTube channel with the name Anubhav Oberoy, and also feel free to subscribe to further courses on onlinefurytrainings.com. With that, Anubhav signing out. Thanks so much and goodbye.